What's up guys, welcome back to Stylewise. Today we're going to take two shirts from this to this. And all you need is some bleach, sewing machine, and a little bit of creativity. So let's do it. I think they're boys shirts actually. Let's just play around and see what we come up with. I want to keep this middle. We're just gonna mark it like this here. Ooh, yes. If I cut there and there. So now our shirt is in 3 pieces. So I just put half of the black over the white just to see where I need to cut it at, because I'm gonna take the white sleeve and put it on to the black shirt. So now we're gonna have this with that. Okay, so I play around with it a little bit, and I was going through some scraps of fabric I had. This cool black and white print. It has a little bit of gold shimmer in there. So I'm not even gonna measure. I'm not gonna do anything besides line it up to the shirt for my length and double it because it has to go on the front and the back. So move that to the side because that's my measurement I gotta keep. All I need is a strip that's about that big. I'm giving myself extra for seam allowance. I don't want to make it too small to where it's hard to sew. And then I will just cut it. So that's the bottom hem. And then we'll go straight up. Quick and easy. And remember that this is doubled, so I'm going to get an iron to press it so we don't lose our line, and then just cut in half, one for the front and one for the back. All right, so now that we have our strips cut out, all we have to do is pin it. So here's the top neckline. I'm just gonna flip it like that and put a pin like that, and then we'll sew straight down. So now we're ready to sew. Now what I've done here is I left a little extra seam allowance. I don't know if you can see, but I'm letting that black hang off the edge a little bit just because I'm not gonna fool around with serging this, and this kind of fabric tends to unravel a bit. So if it's that kind of fabric you're using, just leave a little extra off of that edge. And then the seam allowance here on the white, I'm gonna do about 1/4 inch, maybe half, because I'm not trying to take away width from the shirt. I need it to fit me. Alright, so we got the first strip attached to the side, and now we're just going to keep going all the way around and put this, attach it to the middle piece. So same thing, make sure your neckline is folded over so we get that nice clean edge, and then we'll just pin it all the way down. All I want is like that much. I don't want much. I just want like a little strip, and do it how you want to, but I'm just aiming for like that little bit because this is kind of see-through fabric. So yeah, just a peek, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so it's all pinned in there. I'm just making sure everything looks nice and lined up with the design. For anybody wondering what machine I use, it's a cheapie. This little brother came from probably Walmart, maybe 8 years ago or something. Because guys, it really doesn't matter what kind of machine you use, as long as it works, as long as it can sew right. Really, the rest is on you. You don't have to have some big fancy machine to get you, you know, to do what you want to do. It just has to work, really. It's gonna take a lot of money to make something cool, you know? Just gonna sew this strip to this one. Okay, so we got that attached. I got a little off track here with what was supposed to line up with what, because it's a little confusing. So just make sure with your designs, guys, that you're lined up properly. Like here, I missed just slightly. This is correct, but the rest looks good, and the D is all right. So that I am not gonna worry about fixing. So this is where we are. Now we're gonna move on to the back. With the seam allowance, I did very, like, the minimum, because I didn't want to lose, first of all, any width, but I also didn't want to lose any of the design of the logo. So minimal seam allowance, like probably less than a 1/4 inch there. And if you're really worried about it unraveling or making a hole or something, you could just do a zigzag stitch if you don't have a serger, or if you have a serger, just serge that edge so it won't make a hole. Okay, so now that this one's all sewn together, I'm gonna do this one and just do the polka dot in between instead of that. Okay, so for this one, what I decided to do, I'm just gonna replace the back strip with this lace polka dot. Okay, so to cut it out, all I need to do is put that back strip, and that's kind of like my pattern piece. And I'm just gonna cut around it a little bit extra for seam allowance, but also because I want a little bit of extra room in the shirt. And I got the pinking shears because I'm not gonna serge this. About 1/2 inch is for the seam allowance, and then I'll have an extra 1/2 inch to give me that fit that I'm looking for. Go up at least an extra 1/2 inch. I'm going like 1 inch, maybe even more, just so I can fold it down and have a proper neckline. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the reason I've doubled it is because this is, it's too see-through. Like, I'd rather have it doubled and then kind of stagger the dots to get a little more coverage. I'd rather have it looking like this than this. Either way, I think it would be cute though. Okay, so here are the two shirts all sewn together with their inserts and everything done. Time to bleach. You can do this a number of ways. You could get a dropper, you can use your hands, you could use a number of things to get the bleach onto the shirts. I'm just today actually using my kids' toys because they're right next to me and available, and that's what I'm gonna use. I'm just gonna dip it in there and kind of like let it drip onto the shirts. I'm just gonna splotch it around, kind of like that.
It's turning brown.
Yep, and eventually it will turn almost kind of white-ish.
I'm at this store called Change Colors. It has a rainbow on it.
We have the assistant Sage in the building today. And I haven't even finished up some of the edges yet. Fabric in the back, I didn't do the neckline yet, none of that. I'm gonna wait until I bleach it and wash it, and then we'll do our finishing touches. And you could kind of bunch it up as well. Kind of the same idea as a tie-dye. Just grab a piece.
Do you like me to try?
And twist it. Sure, do you wanna try?
Yeah.
Okay, let it drip off a little bit, and then?
I got it.
Oh, you got a big clump on there. Okay, we'll see how that comes out. Look at that, looks so cool, bud.
I want to do the back.
Yeah, you want to do the back?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get the back done then. I don't think that polka dot is going to change color.
Well, I'm in charge of the store. I work here.
Do you? I guess this doesn't want to take to the bleach, but that's kind of cool. Interesting. What do you think? Is this front side done? I think it's kind of done. I like it like that.
Oh,
That's dope. So they've been bleached and then thrown in the washer and dried. And this is what they look like. Not bad. I just have this cropped shirt that I like the fit of behind them. And I'm gonna use that as a measurement to just cut the hem a little bit shorter. And then we'll finish up the hem. I'm just gonna line up the shoulders. And I can see that that's where I want my hem to be. So I'll just cut right along there. I'm gonna leave just a little bit extra for seam allowance. So maybe like 3/4 of an inch. So now that they're both cut, I'm just gonna check the hems by folding them in half. Well, since it's gonna be just a piece for myself, I'm not gonna go too crazy about the hem. I just use the pinking shears to do the cutting. And then I'm just gonna turn it up once. I'm not even gonna press it. Of course, to do a proper hem, you should turn it twice and use an iron and press it, but this is a top for me. I'm not too concerned about it. I think just one turn and then a straight stitch will be just fine for this shirt. So if you're using lace or some kind of fabric that has stretch, or maybe something different here in your inserts, just be careful not to pull as you sew. Just let it be, let it go through the machine. Kind of straighten it as it goes if necessary and adjust it, but do not pull that fabric as it's going through, because you will stretch it and it will look crazy when it comes out. If you need to pull from back here just gently to guide it, but you don't want to pull on no stretch fabric because it will get all wonky on you. Just remember, as long as you're having fun with what you're doing, that's all that matters. So thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed and learned something. Maybe you got inspired. Leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time on Stylewise.